In 1962, the United States came within minutes of nuclear war, but the most important decision wasn't made in Washington. It was made by one man, locked inside a submarine, deep under the ocean. This was the height of the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Soviet Union had secretly placed nuclear missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles from the United States. America prepared for war. The entire military went on full alert, and families across the country feared the end of the world was at hand. They huddled around their televisions, watching the news, praying for a peaceful resolution. But while presidents and politicians argued on land, something truly terrifying was happening beneath the waves. A Soviet submarine designated B-59 was trapped underwater by U.S. Navy ships. The Americans, trying to force the submarine to surface, started dropping small, non-lethal depth charges as a warning signal. Inside the sweltering, cramped submarine, the situation was desperate. The air was failing, temperatures were soaring, and communication with Moscow was cut off. The officers on board had no idea what was happening on the surface. They only heard the explosions. They believed World War III had already started. Panic and fear took over. The submarine was armed with a special weapon, a torpedo with a nuclear warhead, powerful enough to obliterate an entire American naval fleet. To launch it, a unanimous vote was required from the 3 senior officers on board. The submarine's captain, Valentin Savitsky, gave the order to prepare the torpedo for launch. The political officer agreed. 2 of the 3 officers said yes. The launch sequence began. But the 3rd officer, Vasily Arkhipov, said no. Arkhipov was technically the flotilla commander, not just a subordinate officer, which gave his voice immense weight. He refused to give his consent to launch the weapon. He argued against it, calmly and rationally, despite the intense pressure and the belief that they were already under attack. He insisted that the depth charges were warning shots, not an act of war. He single-handedly stopped the launch. That one decision, made by one man in the depths of the ocean, prevented a nuclear exchange that would have led to unimaginable devastation. America never knew how close it came to destruction that day. Back in the Soviet Union, Arkhipov received no medal. There was no parade, no public thank you for his incredible act of courage. For decades, his story remained a classified secret, buried in military archives. It wasn't until years later that the world learned the truth. Today, historians agree, Vasily Arkhipov may have saved hundreds of millions of lives. History doesn't always change because of presidents or grand armies. Sometimes, the entire course of human events changes because one person refuses to press a button. If you believe stories like this deserve to be remembered, subscribe. Because history isn't just about the past. It's a warning for our future.